Talking to people about fitness is hard. I'm Zach. I'm here with Forward Strength, and I want to talk to you today about how to get people to listen and take you seriously when you try to tell them about fitness or health or what you're doing for those things, because it's really easy to feel like people aren't really listening. It's really easy to see their eyes glaze over when you're talking about fitness, what you do in the gym, going to the gym at all, diet, nutrition, all this stuff. You see people just tune out. It's because people are getting bombarded with information on this stuff all the time. It's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, it's all media everywhere is always talking about the latest and greatest way to lose weight and get fit and live for a million years and be able to eat donuts while you do it, right? People are just, you're getting blown up all the time. You know this, right? This happens to you too. The way to sort of combat that, the way to overcome that so that folks actually do take you seriously is not to just tell them about what you're doing. And that might seem kind of weird because it's, well, what I'm doing is important to me, and so of course I want to share that. Okay, that could be the end goal. I think that makes perfect sense because what you're doing is important to you. It's important enough that you've been doing it consistently to see results, which is why you want to talk about it. Totally get it. But every fitness program, including Forward, is built for a specific goal or a specific person with specific needs. And the person that you're talking to, your friend or family member, might not necessarily fit into that specific set of goals or needs. That's one reason why a lot of fitness fads usually do really well at the very beginning, is because they're able to tell people that what they do works for everyone, which isn't necessarily true. A good example is like P90X. P90X was an at-home workout video series where you just needed some dumbbells, you need some basic weights and some bands, stuff that you could buy relatively cheaply, and you could do it at home. And the idea was that if you could do it at home, there's no sort of excuse or there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do it the way that there can be for some folks what we tell ourselves about going to the gym to get a workout. It's built in extra time, it's going another place, it's energy involved, it's seeing other people, versus if you just work out at home, all that stuff is removed, you just pop in the video, you go to work. But that isn't necessarily true for everybody. That doesn't necessarily mean everyone will succeed with that program. One of the biggest limitations I can think of is that it's a 90-day program, and at the end of your 90 days, yes, you might see some results, but you have nowhere to go from there, right? Yes, there's a follow-on product where you pay more money for another product, but there's no, education, there's no individualization, which there needs to be at some point, right? So not every fitness program is for every person and every set of goals. So the first thing to do is, instead of telling them about what you're doing, ask your friends or family member, what do they want out of their fitness program? Or what do they want sort of out of their life in general in like a physical realm, right? We can't just say, what do you want in life? Let me tell you about the gym, right? That's sort of the exact problem we're trying to combat. Ask them sort of what their goals are for, the new year when you think about health and fitness. That's a great place to start because here we are in January, and really any time of year, right? Asking this question, what are your goals for your health and fitness? There's a way to do that naturally, and I'll leave that to you in the course of your own discussion. But asking that person sort of what their goals are is the best place to start, because that's how we can know, what I do, is what you do, necessarily going to be a good fit for them. Here's an example. So I run, clearly, Forward Strength, which is a strength program for folks that want to be stronger for everyday life, want to feel like no sort of everyday activity is going to be something out of reach for them because they're physically incapable. If your car breaks down on the highway, I want you to know that you can push it to the side by yourself, no problem, do it safely. You don't have to wait for someone to come and help you. But say if we take all of those goals and then we are talking to your friend and you say, this person has been working out forever, you think of them as a fitness person and you want to share your program with them, you say, hey, cousin Susie or whatever, what are your fitness goals? I guess, what are your goals for the new year? And she says, I want to run a marathon. Okay, like there are things we can talk about, and that's like a fun new dynamic for your relationship, is sharing something physical, but Forward isn't necessarily a good fit for someone who wants to run marathons. So, I mean, it can be, but that determination isn't necessarily something that you'll be able to think of on the spot. And if you can, that's great, but you don't want to try to overpower someone and say, your goals don't matter because what I do is fun. We don't want to do that. We want to respect other people's goals. So asking what their goals are first is a great way to sort of bring in what you do into the conversation without overriding what they're doing. There's a few things that you don't want to do. It might seem obvious, but it's worth saying. You don't want to belittle someone into doing any particular program because negative reinforcement doesn't really work very well. We know as humans, positive reinforcement, reward, encouragement, these things are actually much more effective at getting a positive result. Um, Basically, you have to feel good about something in order to do it a whole lot. Or you have to have a constant negative punishment hiding behind you at all times to push you forward, and that's not fun either. And I don't wish that upon anyone. I don't think you would wish that on your friends or family that we're talking to, right? If you do, then they're probably not your friends or family. Another great way to talk about fitness and health with your family is to ask them to help support you. So maybe, you're not sure what their goals are, or they don't have any specific goals just because they don't know enough to even think about that, right? A lot of folks just lack the specific awareness of the benefits of strength training, like protecting your joints, having more muscle mass, which means more energy, and you burn more calories throughout the day, better hormone, I mean, on and on and on and on. A lot of folks don't know these benefits, and so they don't know that they need a fitness program. So you talking to them about what you do isn't really helpful. It's like, riding your bike to the auto body shop and saying like, what do I do with my bike? They're like, I have no idea. This isn't what I work on. This isn't a thing that I care about. They could probably figure out how to work on your bike because it's similar like gears and machinery, but that person's goals and their job and their business isn't related to what you're talking about. So anyway, you want to make sure that you're being respectful of folks, whether they know enough about fitness to have goals, whether those goals are aligned with yours, or maybe they have no awareness, and that's okay too. So another way you can bring them in is you can ask them to support you and say, hey, I'm working hard on this. I would love some help. Do you want to come to the gym with me every once in a while? And we'll do the same things. You'll use lighter weights or whatever. If you have a program that supports beginners and learning, Forward does that, but there are plenty of programs that do that. Then that person coming along with you, that's a way to get them into the gym because they think that they're doing it for you long enough to understand that they're also doing it for them. And you're doing it for them just like you're doing it for you. It becomes this partnership. A thing that you might want to be careful of, and this is something that I think a lot of folks struggle with when they're thinking about bringing a friend to the gym, is you're not a trainer or a coach, and the gym and your workout time is a great time of like fun and low stress and not worrying about other things because you're focused on what you're doing. So you don't want to have to teach that person to do everything. That's a folks, I think, encounter when they're bringing a friend to the gym, is they become the expert because you're the only person that your friend knows who does this. Having some, a guide, YouTube videos are super helpful, but something that's like curated where you're not saying just go on YouTube and Google the stuff and you'll figure it out, because you won't. There's a reason why this profession is a 4-year degree. Even beyond that, there's a ton of academic research that happens. Like, no one can be expected to just watch some YouTube videos and know what they're talking about in this fitness realm. Absolutely not. So you want something that's a little more curated. Again, Forward has an online database that's connected to the workout. So for every exercise, there's a video. You just watch that and do it, and it makes it really easy. But there are a lot of different ways that people sort of solve that problem. Not a huge deal. You want to feel like you're not in charge of their experience, and they want to feel like the two of you are working together, not like they're always under you and there's a weird dynamic there you don't want. So that's another barrier that a lot of folks run into. Another one is thinking about if that person's going to take this as seriously as you do. That's a big barrier for a lot of folks, is you bring someone in and then you're like waiting for them to say, hey, when are we going to work out? When are we going to work out? And then they don't. They just don't. Or they don't respond, or they're always putting you off, or it's hard to align your schedules. What you don't want to do is align your goals with their motivation. Just like you don't want their their goals to be aligned with your motivation, because the occurrence of those two things lining up is very, very rare, right? It's probably not going to happen where 4 times a week for 75 minutes a day, you both are equally motivated and your goals are exactly the same for that day, because we're different people with different lives. What you can do is you can set up a system of accountability with each other and say, hey, these are the times when we agreed ahead of time that we were going to go to the gym. And if one of us can't make it, okay, it's on you to make up that time, knowing that it's a lot more fun if we go together and it's worth it to go together. But if we can't, right, say someone, you work out together on a Monday, that's great, and then Wednesday they can't make it, that doesn't mean you shouldn't work out. That doesn't mean you should be deprived of this thing that you enjoy and is good for you just because their schedule didn't quite work. If, say, you get to Wednesday and you say, hey, let's do it tomorrow, and you both say, okay, Thursday works better, that's great. Go for it. That's fine. You don't have to be a jerk about it, but you go and if it comes up on Thursday and they say, hey, I can't make it, go on Thursday because you made that time. And you should expect the same for them. If something comes up in your life, don't ask them to not go because of you. Maybe try to rearrange and reschedule, but it's not helpful to anybody to hold someone back because it isn't convenient for you. So having that kind of arrangement is a great way to make the two of you a set of training partners, and not one person is in charge and one person is doing all the decision and one person's always motivated, one person's not. It evens things out. So that's kind of how to talk to your friends and family about fitness without seeming pushy. Ask them what their goals are. If they don't have any goals, or even if they have goals that aren't quite aligned with yours, but they're pretty close, you can ask them to help support you and go to the gym with you. And then once you have that arrangement, you want to make sure that they know they are educated on the movements and the workouts that you're doing the same way that you are. Again, Forward does it through an app, but everybody has a different solution. That way you don't have this weird power dynamic. And then you want to make sure that you are accountability partners for each other. You are not accidentally hindering each other from working out. So make sure that you're still going to the gym even if they can't necessarily make it. But when you can go together, it's a great, fun sort of occasion. So that's how to talk to friends and family about fitness without seeming pushy. What makes Forward Strength different from other programs? So we've talked about this in a couple of levels already. One, Forward Strength is a group online program that focuses on strength. There aren't a whole lot of theirs out there right now. There are a lot of programs that focus on just, body composition and dieting super hard and feeling, totally low energy and kind of having negative self-image because you're supposed to look certain. Oh, no. There's a ton of fitness and body transformation programs out there. And to be honest, some of them work and some of them don't, right? It's not just about the program itself, the science of how you put together movements. That's part of it. I'd say it's a major part of it. It's also not just about the diet and the nutrition. Again, the chemistry, the biology of how your body processes foods to make energy. That's another huge part of it. But some of it too, it just doesn't make you feel good or bad about yourself and your body. And there are so many programs that focus on making you feel bad about your body now, so that later on you see, abs, and that's what's going to make you feel good. And I don't believe in that. Forward doesn't believe in that. So what Forward Strength is about, again, like we said before, your car breaks down on the highway. Who's going to come and help you? Nobody. You have to be able to push it to the side yourself. I'm not saying you have to push it 15 miles to the nearest body shop, but you should be able to push your car off to the shoulder by yourself. Same thing goes for, say, it might seem simplistic, but standing up and sitting down on the toilet, right? Maybe you have ADA compliant bars in your bathroom, but probably not, right? You want to be able to do that on your own. You don't want help, doing that. And it might seem like that's, so a problem that's so far off in the future. Maybe it is, but starting now is a way to push off that problem even more for longer. So that's what Forward Strength is about. It's about having the strength to do anything you want in life for as long as you want to do it, and never have to stop doing something physical because you feel like you can't. That's what Forward's about. So that's what makes us different from other programs. It's a group online program. We have a Facebook community so that even if you don't have that friend that you like working out with, we can still interact on Facebook. One of the worst things about having a fun hobby is having no one to share it with. And maybe you haven't mastered the how to talk to your family and friends about fitness yet. And so it feels like you're alone on an island. We don't want that either. So again, the Facebook community is a place where we can talk about sort of how our workouts went, the general program, new ideas, maybe studies or research that we hear, in a way just to stay connected with other real people so it doesn't just feel like you're alone. What Forward also does is we do video review. So if you aren't sure if your technique is correct and maybe you have that training partner and they're not really sure either, it looks like the video, but it doesn't quite feel right, you can submit videos through our app, and those videos will be critiqued, and a coach will respond to you and make sure that you know that what you're doing is right, or if it's not right, we can make changes. So you are not alone. You're not just left to your own devices to figure it out. Anytime you submit those videos and before you do that movement again, someone will have responded to make sure that you know what you're doing and have the changes that you need to make to be better about that. Safety is number one. So what goals does Forward support? So we kind of talked about this already. We're not for everyone, right? So Forward Strength is not a powerlifting program. It's not for folks who want to compete in the sport of powerlifting or weightlifting or bodybuilding or whatever. The goals that Forward Strength supports are feeling and being physically capable for any challenge life might throw at you. So I want you to feel like, we've beaten the car on the highway example to death, but say, I have to help my friend move. I want you to be able to help your friend move and earn that case of beer and not worry about it and not say, I don't know if I can do that. Or even if you're the one moving, I don't want you to have to pay for a moving company because you aren't sure you can move your couch. You want to make sure that you feel physically capable of moving your couch. And the cool thing about that is, along with that actual physical capability, comes a lot of health benefits like adding years to your life, having more energy throughout the day, being, for a lot of folks, they do tend to lean out, but this isn't, again, a pure weight loss transformation program. It's about functionality and practicality and strength for life. That's the goal of the Forward Support. So if you have friends that are training for a marathon, this could be a great sort of extra boost in their program because it's going to keep them healthy and safe while they're focusing on running. If you have folks who are pre-diabetic and they're worried about, in a year, if I don't change, I'm going to be on full-blown meds, this is a great program for that, right? Because we're learning the basic movements of strength, and having more muscle and having more muscle tissue is a great way to help combat some of the, pre-diabetic symptoms. So it's a great way to get folks back on track. Why does Forward cost more than other online programs? We do cost more than some other online programs, right? You'll find, again, at Facebook or Instagram, whatever, influencers that have a program for $10 a month. What you're getting with that program is literally a spreadsheet, and maybe they respond to DMs every once in a while. With Forward, again, it's 4 workouts per week that are 60 to 75 minutes each. You're getting an online fitness community, online Facebook community, so you don't feel alone, and there are real people that have answers to your questions. Maybe they have questions that you can answer. You're not just, doing your hobby or your habit alone in a dark room and there are no other people around. And then we also have video review, so we can actually make sure that what you're doing is correct and safe. So if you ever have questions about any movements, send in the video. It gets critiqued. It gets sent back to you. Maybe we use it in a case study to help other people. You get to stay even more connected to a community of other like-minded folks. So that's why Forward costs a little bit more, is because there's a lot more going on. But these are all things that I think are necessary for folks to have a great experience in the gym, right? So we need a great program. We need it to be pretty frequent, 4 times a week. We need an online community so that you don't feel so alone. And we need the video review to make sure you're safe. So there's a lot going on with Forward. So that's how to, that's how to talk to family and friends about fitness. What Forward or makes Forward different from other programs, what goals Forward supports, and why Forward costs more than other online programs. I'm going to take a nap now. Nice job, everybody.